Thank you to everybody that's taken part in Shake It Up already. For those of you that are thinking you can't be harmed by non-pharmaceutical treatments, please listen to this video. Again, I'm going to talk in relation to ME/CFS, but please bear in mind that there are many other patient groups who are offered similar or different non-pharmaceutical treatments that are also harmed, and long COVID patients are now also being recommended the treatments, non-pharmaceutical treatments that harm ME/CFS patients. So that's your starting point. So ME/CFS has, for well over a decade, had cognitive behavioural therapy and something called graded exercise therapy recommended to us. Now, talking therapies and exercise are non-pharmaceutical treatments. In the NICE guidelines that were published on the 29th of October 2021, NICE specifically said, do not recommend any treatments based on exercise to ME/CFS patients. They've seen the scientific evidence that shows that ME/CFS affected bodies do not create or use energy effectively. They've seen that for themselves, and that's why they've included it in this guideline. NICE has also, as a side comment, said maybe we should start counting the harms, collating them in the form of having a system to report harms from these treatments, because they knew that medics, because they think they know best, will not stop offering these non-pharmaceutical treatments. And they've been proven right. Today, ME/CFS patients are being recommended cognitive behavioural therapy and graded exercise therapy. That is happening. Let me talk about why it harms patients. You wouldn't think a talking therapy would harm, but it does, and here's how. The CBT that is specific to ME encourages this narrative. The narrative is that ME isn't real, that patients are imagining their symptoms, and that they have false sickness beliefs. This CBT that's recommended to ME/CFS tells patients to ignore their symptoms, to basically do mind over matter, to try and push through and try and ignore their false sickness beliefs. Anyone that knows anything about ME/CFS will tell you that you have to very carefully monitor every single symptom, because it's your body's indicator that you are running out of energy. So if you are encouraged to ignore the indicators from your own body, you push through. That causes you to go past your energy envelope. That causes a massive deterioration in symptoms, and that's why patients are now house or bed bound as a result of talking therapies. That's the first one. Second one, ME/CFS patients have very restricted energy levels. Even things like standing up to do this video. This will have a negative impact on my health, because you need energy to stay vertical. You need energy to talk, to think, you name it. It requires energy. So if you are severely restricted in energy in your body, we don't know the science behind it yet. But we do know that our bodies don't create or use energy effectively. We know that much. The scientific consensus internationally is that ME/CFS affected bodies do not have normal ways to create or use energy. So why on earth would anyone think that asking us to increase our activity would be a treatment and or a cure? Elsewhere around the world, they have said point blank, do not recommend increased activity, and those medics stick to it. But in the UK, they are continuing to offer, they've rebranded it, they're not allowed to call it graded exercise therapy anymore. It's under a range of names, but if any kind of treatment that involves increased activity and or exercise are inappropriate for ME/CFS. That's continuing, as I said, to today. There will be patients today going to see their physio being put through increased activity to get better. It doesn't work. In 2020, Chris Whitty, is he the Chief Medical Officer, said there is, basically I'm paraphrasing, there is no illness or situation where exercise is not beneficial. That's simply untrue. But we can't counter that. We can't counter that false narrative, because we have nowhere central to have our complaints and the record of our harms collated and counted. If that had been the case over the past decade, you would have hundreds of thousands of registered harms as a result of cognitive behavioural therapy and graded exercise therapy. That's why I am now campaigning for a new mechanism, a new system by which patients can report harms from non-pharmaceutical treatments. We simply cannot move forward or tackle this false belief that exercise is a cure-all for everything if we have no way of reporting harms. Myself included, patients report harms or they complain to their NHS Trust, their clinic, their GP, the CCG and PALS. Those complaints are dealt with individually and then dropped. They're not counted centrally. So then imagine how much of a slap round the face it was during the NICE process for the proponents of graded exercise therapy to say there's no reports of harms because there's no system. I would also say anyone watching this that is so far fit and healthy, long COVID patients are having exactly the same problem. They're being told by their GP that they have anxiety, exactly the same as with ME/CFS. They're being told to do CBT and graded exercise therapy, exactly the same as ME/CFS. They also don't have a method to report harms. So this one system will benefit many different patient groups, and I would say it would probably benefit minimum 3 million people in the UK. And as COVID goes on, the estimates are between 10 and 30% are becoming chronically sick as a result of COVID. Now, scientists have just said they're anticipating 200,000 cases a day. That's 20,000 minimum becoming chronically sick, all being told to do graded exercise therapy, rebranded. And I've also heard that, well, I know this for a fact, patients are now being sent to their local gym for exercise-based rehab. NICE said if an ME/CFS patient requests exercise-based rehab, it has to be done under the care of an ME/CFS specialist. Some ME/CFS patients are now caught up in long COVID. They're being sent to their local gym. They are not ME/CFS or long COVID specialists. This is why we need somewhere to report harms. You're not going to report your gym instructor, but you can report your GP who referred you to the gym. Because it's the GP's false beliefs that exercise is a cure-all, or ME/CFS isn't real, or long COVID isn't real, that caused the referral to the gym. So I hope I've enlightened you a little bit without waffling too much. Please sign the petition, because if it doesn't affect you now, it may well do in future. You could be one of the 10% that goes on to get long COVID. 46% of long COVID is now ME/CFS. And only 5% of ME/CFS ever recover. You do not want this. I've got ME/CFS and long COVID now. Please do sign the petition today. I hope I've enlightened you as to the need of the system, and the need is a desperate one. Please sign today. Thank you.